Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be sharpening an case peanut that I had done another cut test with. Um, I did the original cut test with Swiss Army knife, stainless steel white sod buster that was a 2024 model, and an 2024 sod buster junior with the new CS blades from Case. And then I did another test comparing the carbon steel blade with the older CV blade. And in that test, if you haven't watched the video, I found that the new carbon steel blade, the 1095, it held an edge better than Case's older CV, but it was harder to resharpen. And that's the conclusion that I came to. But I got to thinking that it just seems wrong to me that that stainless steel sod buster that I had tested, it just seems wrong to me that that particular knife had such good edge retention. Because it just, to me, I've always heard that Case of Stainless didn't hold as good edge, and so I just couldn't stand it anymore, and I had to test it again. And so I picked another stainless steel knife. And the particular knife that I picked is this little white peanut here that I'm sharpening. This knife is a 2021, if I can get it to focus, it's a 2021 Case, stainless steel. And I figured, well, it's an older knife, so it's got some older steel in it. You know, it's 3 years older than the sod buster I tested. And the other thing that made it a little different was the test I did, the second test, comparing the Stockmans with the CV and the CS steel. In that test, if you'll notice, I keep making mention of the box. The box that I used for that test was about as hard as you can imagine it. I don't know why it was so hard, but the box was so hard. I had to buff the knives to get the scratches out of the blade. And not more than that, the blades kept heating up from the friction. You could feel the heat coming off of the blade, which is kind of odd. But nevertheless, it's a really tough box. And so I thought, well, I'm going to, since I still had quite a bit of that box left to cut up, I said, I'm going to test it again with this peanut here, because it's another stainless steel knife, and it's a few years older. So I took it to that box, and I cut, and I cut, and I cut. And I cut, and I cut, and I cut. And if you'll remember in the video comparing the CV with the CS, you'll remember that the CV lost its edge where it wouldn't easily slice paper at around 150 slices, and that the carbon steel lost it around 200. At 200 slices with this little peanut, it was still slicing through paper without even getting any jagged edges on it. And it wasn't even beginning to dull. It wouldn't catch my fingernail, and it wouldn't shave hair, but it was still slicing through paper so easy at 200 slices that I just concluded it right there. For my testing, I've tested now, I guess 7 different knives, 2 stainless steels, one from 2024, one from 2021, 2 carbon steels, one from 2024, well, both from 2024. One was my 32 pattern Stockman, the other was my 37 pattern Sodbuster Junior. And I got the same results every time, and then I also tested my 2016 63032 medium Stockman, my amber bone one, and I got the same results every time. Same results, no matter which box I was using, because of the different density of the boxes and so on. They didn't always get the same amount of slices before they went dull. But the important thing we were testing is the relationship to each other. You know, how do these knives compare to each other with regard to holding their edge? And so from what I can tell, every test I've done, no matter how many times I've double-checked myself, I always seem to have the stainless steel knives holding their edge longer than the carbon steel and the chrome vanadium. And I find that so very interesting, because that is absolutely not how I was expecting this test to turn out, and it's kind of shocking, if I'm being honest about the matter. But I am curious about other people's experiences. Are you having the same kind of thing? If you've done this test, make sure the knives are the same sharpness. And if you've done the test, how are they coming back? Are they coming back very similar? I've got the bar flipped up on this edge. The reason why I'm having to resharpen this little peanut is because this was the one that I used for my cut test, and the blade got so scratched up I had to buff it. And when I buffed it, it just dulls a blade out like you wouldn't believe it. I mean, this blade was dull like a butter knife after buffing it. But I will also say that to bring this edge back around after I finished the cut test, it just took, again, one stroke toward me, one stroke away from me, and one stroke back toward me on my 1000 grit ceramic stone. And I was able to shave my arm easily with it. It was razor sharp. And that's the way that my tests keep coming out. It's very interesting results. And it was not what I expected. I always expected the carbon steel knives to hold an edge better. But there is one thing I will say, one variable that might come into place. Some people believe that the carbon steel is a little easier to sharpen than the stainless steel. And a lot of it has to do with the way that the burr develops and the way that you've got to go back and forth to cut that burr down on the stainless knives a little more than you do the carbon. And so when people are having trouble with the results, maybe some of it has to do with the fact that it's harder to get the burr off the stainless, and so the knife isn't starting as sharp as the carbon steel knife is. Other than that, I really don't know. One thing I will say that is absolutely true, though, is the older cases, like that 78 sleeve bar I have, that mother of pearl knife, that's a beautiful knife, and I really like it. But cases stainless steel in the 70s is not near as good as their stainless steel today. You cannot get it as sharp, from my experience. Now, this is all my experience, my opinions. I'm not unable to get it as sharp as one from 2024 or in the last 10 years. It takes a lot longer to get it to the degree of sharpness that I am able to get it, and it does not hold an edge near as long. But these newer stainless steels, they've really come up. They're doing a lot better with them than they used to. Okay, see, now we've got that burr. See if you can hear it in the camera. We got that burr flipped up on this side of the stainless steel. So now I'm going to go lightly over this side. This is just how I do it. It works good for me. You all do it however way you all like to do it. Whatever works for you is the way to do it. There is no right or wrong way to go about this. But I have found, as I've said before in these videos, that case of stainless steel likes to be left with just a little bit of grit. In my experience, it does not like to be taken down as fine as some other steels do. Let me run this over this ceramic stone, and I think we've got this knife good and sharp. Let's test it here. Oh yeah, catching my thumb good. Let's see. You can see there, it's nice, good and razor sharp. And you see this knife blade, like I said, it was extremely dull. I'm like, it wouldn't cut tape dull when I began here. You see, that didn't take much effort at all for me to get this blade back to razor sharp. Let me get a page from this poor old Smoky Mountain Knife Works magazine. This one's expired. You can see, we got it back up to razor sharp, and it's ready to go. And like I said, with this sharpness, I was able to, this was able to outperform the carbon steel knife. Very shocking. It's not what I expected. I am thinking about maybe doing an experiment, I guess is what we'd call it, an experiment on the channel. Maybe coming up here one of these months, let's do an experiment where that all of us who have peanuts will carry a peanut for a week. And while carrying the peanut for a week, we can carry any other knives we want to, but we've got to carry a peanut. And the rule is to use the peanut for everything you need to cut, unless you come upon something you need to cut that is too big for the peanut. You know, if there's some task you need to do that the peanut's unable to do because it's too small, then record that and note that. And every day of this experiment, I will put up a different short on YouTube about a peanut knife with some music and just showing a knife. And each day, you can come and comment in the comments of that YouTube short how your experience is going with the peanut and what you encountered that the peanut couldn't do. Or comment that you're surprised how good the peanut does. The peanut is a really useful knife for how small it is, and it's a knife that every knife guy needs in his collection. But it is interesting because you can do a lot with one of these little peanuts. Now there are certain tasks, like if you're cutting zip ties all day long, or if you're cutting those plastic bands, you know, that they'll use to box up appliances at stores and stuff, then the peanut probably isn't the knife for you. You probably need a bigger knife. But for those of us who are carrying it just as an everyday carry knife, just to have in our pocket for any task we might need, I think it would be interesting to do a 1-week experiment just to see how many things that we all encounter that we are unable to do with our peanut. If you're interested in doing an experiment like this, comment down below. We will give plenty of warning if we do go on with the experiment, and every day, like I said, I'll put up a YouTube short showing a peanut, and you can come back and report on that short how your experience is going with carrying the peanut. And that's not to say that we carry the peanut only, but it is to say that we have the peanut with us every day that week, and any big thing that we need to cut, we check to see if the peanut will do the job first. And it would be just an interesting experiment just to see how it works out. But if you all are interested in that, comment down below, and we'll consider doing that here coming up sometime soon. But we'd give plenty of warning so everybody can pick out a peanut. If you have a peanut in your collection, pick out which one you want to use and get it ready and sharp. Or more than that, if you don't have a peanut, maybe you can go buy one or find one. So we'll give plenty of warning if we do go on with the experiment. But I think it would be fun. I'm doing an experiment to see what's too big for a peanut to handle. Y'all out there, you have a good day, and thanks for watching. Keep your knives sharp.